Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and welcome to another flight from one of my favorite new airports, which is Stuttgart by Yoke Airlines. It is just such a fantastic airport over here. They've modeled the terminal to such a high degree, it's just stunning. Today we're going to take the TUI Boeing 737-800 from here over to Madeira, where we got some absolutely beautiful weather forecast, meaning a lot of turbulence, a lot of thunderstorms and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to flying the 737 over there and doing the famous circling approach from a 05 today. Now luckily as crew we don't need to drop any of our bags over here, even though there is a beautiful little baggage drop-off simulated over here, but we can go right to security and, well, I suppose technically speaking we're supposed to get in line, but I'm just gonna run through over here since there is no staff right now anyway. Probably on strike? Who knows? Well, that's gonna expedite our boarding at least. Alright, so we're done in the scanners over here, all the security checks are behind us, so let's make our way to the gate. We are parking at gate number 12 today in Stuttgart, so let's go right down here to the left hand side and just make our way directly to the gate. Now, I really gotta say that I'm loving these smaller airports where you are just going to get to the gates that quickly, where you don't have to run through entire terminals in order to get somewhere. By the way, talking about terminals, this is some absolutely lovely modeling over here, isn't it? I'm really in love with the way this airport looks. Yoke Airlines has once again done such an awesome job on this. Now, I think we're one gate too far to the right here. Let's make our way to that one where our 737 is waiting for us, which should be right over here. And looking outside, indeed, there it is, our ride of the day, the Delta Alpha Tango Uniform Alpha. Okay, then we're gonna go through here and just look at the door over here. That's a fantastic animation, isn't it? Also really love walking down the aisle over here. You probably know that meme, that famous cabin crew meme of a cabin crew walking down the aisle in the airplane and then a picture of all her friends walking down the aisle getting married. Yep, now we got a third aisle that we're walking down over here, right towards our 737, and it is a beautiful one thanks to Yoke Airlines. Even the jetway itself, I mean, look at this. We're getting right down the jetway right now, directly up to the airport. Thank you so much to Aerosoft for providing me with a copy of the scenery for today's flight. And then I'd say, let's go ahead and open our airplane up, and then we are gonna get right into this one. So, beautiful repaint over here as well. The same also goes for the cabin. They've just done a fantastic job on this. And well, we are of course gonna go to the other side of the airplane today, which is the flight deck. So it's still pretty cold outside. Let's put our coat in place. Let's put our flight bags in place down there. You can also put your sunshade up since the sun is directly on the right hand side over there. Okay, and well, then we can go ahead and start to power our 737 up. Battery is coming on. Right now there is no ground power unit connected, so let's go ahead and do the fire tests down here, which is looking good, and then the same on the squibs down there, and then we can go ahead and commence our APU start. If we've got no ground power unit, then so be it. At the same time, let's already go ahead and request the catering services so that our airplane is ready for boarding by the time we are ready. And while we're waiting for all of this lovely stuff to complete down here, I suggest we are going to have a very quick look in today's flight plan. So here's what it looks like. We are departing Stuttgart and then heading south across Switzerland, France, Spain and Portugal directly to Madeira. The significant weather chart is pretty clear for most of the flight. Only in the area of Madeira we got occasional CBs up to flight level 320, and the same picture confirms itself when looking at the airport weather. Stuttgart itself is showing absolutely beautiful right now with scattered clouds only, and Madeira right now is fine with a couple of CBs, but look at that tempo 0401525 and showers of rain in the area, and then prop 30 tempo, wind variable 15, gust 25, 3000 meters, and thunderstorm rain. So yeah, that's about as bad as it gets. They have planned Porto Santo, which is of course immediately next to Madeira, so I'm kind of expecting that not to be any better than the other weather we are gonna look at. So if Madeira is bad, then Porto Santo is probably gonna be bad as well. Therefore, let's go ahead and have a look at the other airports they've given us, which are Arrecife, so Lanzarote, and they've got the same stuff, gusts and thunderstorms in the forecast, and the same thing applies to Fuerteventura and also to Gran Canaria. So overall, not the best weather. Now, we are going to take fuel for Faro as alternate as well if we can, but let's go ahead and have a look at what that actually means. So, we are departing from Stuttgart in the Alpha Tango Uniform Alpha, which is a 737-800 with a CFM56-7B engine. Departing at 0700, we are going to arrive 20 minutes ahead of schedule in Madeira, cruising in flight level 350. Now, for our fuel, they planned us at 11.8 block fuel. Now, let's have a look into the alternate airports down here. And the furthest we got is an hour and 11 Fuerteventura, 3017 kilos extra fuel. Looking up here into the weights, we got 3000 kilograms margin to the maximum landing weight. I don't want to arrive there with the exact maximum, because you can always get a couple shortcuts and stuff like that. So I suppose we are going to use, you know, like 2.5 tons extra, giving us 500 kilos margin to the max landing weight. So 11.8 plus 2.5 tons brings us to 14.3, and I'd say 14.3 is a good fuel amount that gives us all kind of options. Alright then, by now the APU is started, so let's go ahead and put the APU generators online over here, and then we can quickly run through the rest of our flight deck safety inspection. That's looking good. Let's quickly do the fire test again. Wheel well fire warning works. Then cargo fire test is looking good. Transponder should obviously be on 2000 standby already. Voice recorder is coming online. Flight recorder tested. Clackers 1 and 2 are okay. Stick shaker number 1 and number 2. Passenger oxygen is guarded. IRSs 1 and 2 going into nav. And with that we have finished our cockpit inspection over here. So let's take a seat in our 737-800. We're going to start this stuff with a light test to make sure that all the bulbs are working, because right now if we do find something broken, we can always just call for engineering to fix it. Of course you can fix light bulbs yourself in the 737, you're actually allowed to do that as a pilot, but always nicer if you do have maintenance available to replace the spares as well. Okay then, oxygen. And the pressure is looking good up here as well. Fantastic. Okay, so then I'm going to turn on one of the fuel pumps to support the APU. The electric hydraulic pumps are also coming on. What's the cabin temperature here? 26. Well, a little warm. Let's put that APU on. Also, the wheel well lights are going to come on as well, and then you can head out for the walk around while I'm going to start setting our airplane up for today's service. So let's go right down to the electronic flight bag and request data from SimBrief like this, and then we can head right down into the CDUs. Now, a little mistake here. The real world TUI aircraft has the FAMS 1A CDU, so let's install that one again. Alright, like that. Nav data out of date, that's checked. Let's go ahead and run a quick update. No Navigraph. Oh god. Installing. Good. And update is completed. So that looks better, doesn't it? 737-800 and the current database with a 26K engine. Copy and paste the GPS position, and then we can do our flight plan request down here. And while we're waiting for that to happen, let's also run down into the weight and balance, load that thing from SimBrief, and then we can quickly run down into the FS Actions, ground services, and select 14,300 kilos of fuel, and start the refueling down here. Now, let's go into the ACARS and request the current weather for Stuttgart. And while all of that is in progress, we can load our route. So while all of that's happening, let's have a look at our departure charts down here. So we need the airport charts for that one, and then our SID is going to be the Rotbe 1 kilo departure. So let's also select that one, provided we can find it. Here it is, 1 kilo. Okay, good. So that stuff is all on board. And route data uplink is also here. Let's see, we are the 2E74 kilo. Like this. Then our ATIS has just arrived as well. And that's Stuttgart Information Victor, runway 07, wind calm, clear skies, 7 degrees, 1012. Okay, that's selected, and then let me quickly set the MFRA as well, which is going to be 2310, then we've got that stuff out of the way. Here we go, 2310, and transfer that over. Thanks. Okay, great. So runway 07 is confirmed. Then let's go ahead and quickly order GSX boarding. And then we can start with the setup. So departing Stuttgart 07, Rotwe 1 kilo, and arriving in Funchal with the Arnov Alpha approach, PLIM transition, and we're coming in via the Lidro 1 Papa. Route activate. Let's have a look. So up here, plan mode is selected. So Delta Sierra 001 above 1680 is checked. Delta Sierra 002 above 2590 is checked. Delta Sierra 003 above 2890 is checked. Waypoint 4, maximum 205 knots above 5200 is also checked. Then we continue towards Tetgo above 6260 and then direct to Rotwe. So that's all looking good. Okay, then we can continue on the performance initialization. We are flying cost index 10 today, and our reserve fuel is 1.9. So zero fuel 61.1, and cruising in flight level 350. The top of climb wind 080 at 30. And top of climb temperature is 0 degrees ISA deviation, transition altitude 5001. For the takeoff reference page, noise abatement procedure 2 is correct, 250 below 100 is correct, and then we can go for the fix info page, Stuttgart and 25-mile ring. And finally, let's create an engine out point, which is going to be based on Stuttgart 071/21 miles. And hold next holding in 5,000 feet, 071 right hand turns, and that's all looking good. Okay, then we can copy this point and put it onto the second fix page, like that. Why is that vanishing? That's not supposed to happen. Oh, there it is again. Okay. Must be a little bug. Okay, lovely. And with that, we are finished setting our FMC up for the flight. So let's quickly go over the rest of the panel. What's the refueling doing? 14.3, perfect. Okay, and that side's also set. Then, flight level 350, landing elevation 200, right igniter. The EFIS CP is already set, so flight directors are coming on. Runway heading 071. like that, and on here as well, and altitude 5000. Alright, that looks good. Fuel flow reset, auto brake RTO. The oil quantity is good, hydraulic quantity is good. QNH 1012, no NDBs needed. Park and brake is set. Then we do need a couple of frequencies. So that's delivery 121.9015, probably not going to need that, and then ground 118605. Okay, and tower later on 118805. Like that. Then I am going to tune Stuttgart VOR, active on nav1, down here everything is set. No ADF needed, weather and turbulence, TCAS above, and on the right hand side 1.5, 11685, VHF 1, like that. Okay, perfect. And we're done with our flight deck setup. In the meantime, you would be back from the walk around. So let's go ahead and request our IFR clearance. So we have information Victor. So it's ATIS Victor, stand 12, ATC Center Stuttgart, and we'll say Moin. Okay, Stuttgart Madeira 74 kilo, that's all looking good. Send that clearance request. Lovely. So with that, we've pretty much done everything that we could do for the time being. Boarding is in progress, 52 of 189, and cargo is also in progress. That is good. So let's get those, what does it say no last? You guys see that on screen? Got a no last ATC message that somehow stuck itself to my monitor. I do hope you guys are not going to see it. Come on, will you please get my armrest? Hello? Kindly ask you to take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance during the flight, please do not hesitate to reach out to any member of our crew. We've gotten a couple messages, let's see. Departure request status being processed, stand by, and here's our IFR clearance. So, Wilco. Then let's see, clear to Madeira, Rodwell 1 kilo departure, expect runway 07, and there's runway 07, here's the Rodwell 1 kilo departure. Maintain 5000, that is set. Departure 119.85. I'm going to pre-select that down here and squawk 6221. Okay, and with that the IFR clearance is confirmed. Good, then let's start our departure briefing. So threats for today's departure, I'm honest, I don't see any and I don't have to invite any. Route check. So, going from Echo Delta Delta Sierra to Lima Papa Mike Alpha, Tango Uniform India 74 kilo. Our routing is via the Rodwell 1 kilo departure to Rodwell, Yankee 126 Tublo, November 850 NATO, direct Lutix, direct Bernard, direct Nemos, direct Nintu, direct Maybach, direct Repsi, direct Lerga, direct Minzo, direct Narak, direct Argent, direct Pipo, Lima 866 Pamplona, direct Mirpo, Domingo, November Echo Alpha, Ardit, Fox Tango Mike, Busen, Lidro 1 Papa arrival, and that thing gives me a ground distance of 1544 versus 1566, so close enough, 5.8 remaining, and let's see, 61.1 plus 5.8 is 66.9, that's currently 500 above the max landing weight. See, that's why I wanted to be a little careful there, but we don't have the average wind in just yet. Let's see if we can get that now. Wind data request, yep, is working now, good. So let's just do the wind data request and then we'll see what we're going to end up with. Okay. Time UTC 0647, correction 49, altimeter 1012, reading 1310, I'm afraid 2310. Flight directors are on, minus the master, standby instruments set. It's a left seat takeoff, runway 07, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2, and the engine out sits straight at 25 miles, climbing 5,000, the MSA is 4,800. Emergencies, above 80 knots, I will only reject for fire or fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind shear warning if the aircraft is unable or unsafe to fly. If I am called stop, I will simultaneously close the thrust levers and disengage the auto throttle, apply maximum manual braking and verify operation of the RTO auto brakes. Manually raise the speed brake lever and apply maximum reverse thrust, and when the aircraft comes to a stop, I will set the parking brake. Now, if you call stop, I will note the brakes on, speed I call speed brakes up or speed brakes not up, and thrust was normal or at normal indications. I'll call 100 knots, 80 knots, 60 knots, and the runway distance remaining. Verify your actions and call any omissions. I will call auto brake disarm and select flaps 40 when the parking brake has been set and advise ATC of the reject. We'll then identify the failure and carry out any drills as appropriate. If we decide to evacuate, we read and do the evacuation checklist. Time permitting, we'll pull the CBRCB, you grab the lid, and then we get out. If the call before V1 is keep going, there will be no actions below 400 feet except to cancel any warnings and raise the landing gear with a positive rate. At 400 feet, verify heading, select and carry out the memory items. At the MFRA, buck up, retract flaps on schedule, flaps up no light, select level change, max continuous thrust, engage the automatics, non-normal checklist, normal checklist, PIOS units, PA, and then we make up a plan. Now, for our taxi, it's going to be a pushback facing to the right-hand side, and then we'll have a fairly simple taxi, Mike Lima 2 Kilo to runway 07 for a full-length departure. Our SID is the Throttle 1 Kilo departure on a chart 10-3 from the 31st of January 25. Contact long radar immediately after takeoff on 125.05. Speed maximum 250 below flight level 100, and that's what we got down here. We went over the waypoints already. 4,800 is the MSA, climbing 5,000, which is set and also confirmed by our traffic control. Do you have any questions or suggestions on those points? No? Alright, then that's our departure briefing completed. So, let's see what our boarding is doing. Got 8 minutes to our scheduled departure time. 176 of 189, so we're as good as done. 182 now even. I tell you what, I'm already going to say hello to our passengers. Liebe Fluggäste, einen wunderschönen guten Morgen aus dem Cockpit, hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Mein Name ist Emanuel und im Namen der TUI darf ich Sie ganz herzlich an Bord unserer Boeing 737-800 auf unserem Flug nach Madeira begrüßen. Die Flugzeit heute wurde mit ca. 3 Stunden und 35 Minuten berechnet. Wir erwarten einen weitestgehend ruhigen Flug in einer Höhe von etwa 10.900 Metern. Wir melden uns dann im Anflug auf Madeira mit dem neuesten Wetter bei Ihnen, erledigen jetzt noch den letzten Papierkram und werden dann auch unsere Motoren starten. Vielen Dank, dass Sie heute unsere Gäste sind. Lehnen Sie sich zurück und genießen Sie den Flug mit uns. Und wir melden uns dann später im Anflug nochmal bei Ihnen. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emanuel, and in the name of TUI, welcome aboard our Boeing 737-800 on our flight to Madeira. Today's flight time will be 3 hours 35 minutes, expecting a smooth flight in 35,000 feet or about 10,900 meters. Now we are just finishing up the last paperwork, then we expect to start the engines in the next couple of minutes. For the time being, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And if there is anything we can do for you to make it more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew members. Thank you very much for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. Okay, so the cabin crew is dealt with, or rather the passengers. Boarding is completed. Let's prepare the position for pushback and departure. And then we should have received the load sheet by now, so let's have a quick look into that. And while we're on it, you can also release that tuck down there. So we got zero fuel weight of 61.2, which is 100 kilos more than planned, and that's 75.5. All looking good. Takeoff CG 23. So let's go into the performance tool, Stuttgart 07. Takeoff weight 75,500, takeoff CG 23. Then let's have another look at that weather. So that's wind calm, then I am going to use 250 at 5. So direct tailwind of 5 knots, temperature 7, QNH 1012, air conditioning on, anti-ice off. Let's takeoff 1 at 27 degrees. So takeoff 1 and 27, 93.1%, that looks okay. Flaps 5, CG 23, and this that's 5.7 units trim. Takeoff speeds 50, 51, 55. All looking good. Alright, 5.7 units. Yep, jumped a bit too far there. Here we go. Okay, beautiful. So that's all in. Then let's do the safety inspection checklist, and before start checklist down to the line, please. Services and shocks checked, maintenance status checked, battery on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, ship's library checked. IRS mode selectors, nav, gear pins, 1, 2, 3 removed, probe covers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 removed, light test checked, oxygen test 100%, yaw damper on, nav transfer and display switches normal and auto, fuel 11.8 required, 14.3 on board, and we got 6 pumps on. Cabin utility IV galley power on, emergency exit lights on, fast mode on, window heat on, air cannon press, PAX auto, bleeds on set, pressurization mode selector auto, instruments cross-checked, auto brake RTO, hydraulics are normal, speed brake. Down detent, park and brake set, stop jump cutout switch is normal, wheel well fire warning checked, radius radar and transponder, set and standby, rudder and aileron trims 3 and 0, takeoff briefing disgusting, PA complete, FMC CDU. You can remove your chocks, please. So FMC CDU set, and modern ES box, automatic, reduced 24K, 50, 51, 55 set, step trim 5.7 set, performance weight and balance, signed and sent, phones off, EFB, airplane mode still, flight awareness and cockpit door, locked, doors closed, passengers seated, before start checklist complete down to the line. Alright, then we're ready to go up here. Ground from flight deck. Please confirm that all doors and hatches are closed, Honeycomb is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed. Roger, we're asking for push. Stuttgart ground, 2EJ 74 kilo, request pushback and startup.
EJ 74 kilo, pushback approved, face east.
Pushback approved, facing east, 2EJ 74 kilo. Before start checklist below the line, air compacts off, anti-collision light on, park and brake set, transponder alt off, before start checklist complete. Ground from flight deck. Pushback and startup approved, facing east, park and brake is set. Roger, facing east, release park and brake. Brake released. That's copied, we'll start on the pushback and stand by for engine start, please. Okay, 3 minutes ahead of schedule. I like it. We are good today.
Cabin attendants, arm doors.
Lovely little museum over there with the Antonov 2, isn't it?
Welcome aboard TUI Flight 2810, departing for Madeira. Our estimated flight time is 3 hours and 40 minutes.
I really like this scenery. I cannot overemphasize this. It's definitely going to become one of my favorites here in Germany.
Including frequent flyers. Fasten your seatbelts by inserting the metal tip into the buckle and adjusting the strap. Keep your seatbelts fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. Please return your seatbacks and tray.
Okay then, we're ready for engine start. Sequence will be 2 then 1. Roger that, clear 2. Starting 2.
And larger devices are securely stowed. Smoking and e-cigarettes are
Engine 2 start.
Oxygen masks will drop automatically if needed. Pull the mask, place it over your nose and mouth,
and
breathe normally. Life vests are located under your seat. Put them on and inflate only after leaving the aircraft.
Oil pressure, and 1.
Level lighting will guide you to the nearest exit, which may be behind you. In case of evacuation, leave all personal belongings behind. If any electronic device becomes hot or catches fire, please inform the crew immediately. Thank you for your attention, and we wish you a pleasant flight.
Okay, pushback completed, set park and brake. Park and brake set. Okay, please lower the aircraft, remove all equipment, and advise when clear, please. And we got a good start in 2, starting 1. Isolated pack, starting 1. And 2.
Ground Lufthansa 126, taxi to the gate.
Oil pressure, and 1.
Lufthansa 126, taxi to parking via Echo November Hotel Mike. Echo November Hotel Mike, Lufthansa 126.
Starter cutout, monitor 1, engine 1 stable. Alright, there's a tuck, there's a tow bar, there's the ramp agent, and there is the bypass pin. Clear signal is received. Flight control chest. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. B4 taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, probe heat on, RTIs off, air conditioning, PAX auto, bleeds on, isolation valve, auto, flaps, 5 required, 5 selected, and the green light, stop trim, 5.7 required set, start levers idly turned, flight controls checked, recall checked, B4 taxi checklist complete. TUI-Jet 74 kilo, request taxi.
TUI-Jet 74 kilo, runway 07 taxi via Mike, Lima 2 kilo.
Taxi to holding point runway 07 via Mike, Lima 2 and kilo, TUI-Jet 74 kilo. Okay, that is as briefed. Straight ahead, right to the runway. Clear left side and clear right side. You need that there right now? You don't, huh? Okay, config. It's checked. Okay, my friends, and here we go. So, crossing a road over here, as with all airports, that's a potential hotspot for damaging your airplane, because I would never trust those drivers to actually respect taxiing aircraft. Okay, clear of that, before takeoff checklist down to the line. Config, checked, flaps 5, green light, stop trim 5.7 set. Takeoff briefing. It's a left seat takeoff, runway 07, PAX auto, bleeds on, anti-ice off, and we are using a reduced 24K takeoff with speeds 150, 151, 155, and that is set. The sit is right turn out with a 205 knot restriction, so we are going to maintain flaps 1 for that initial turn, and we've got an engine out procedure straight ahead to 25 miles, and that is selected up here as well. Okay, and that's it. Any questions? Nope. Wonderful. Cabin is secure, and that's the before takeoff checklist complete down to the line.
Air Cairo 2951, runway 7 taxi via November kilo.
Runway 7 taxi via November kilo, Air Cairo 2951.
TUI-Jet 74 kilo, contact tower on 118.805.
118.805, TUI-Jet 74 kilo. Stuttgart Tower, guten Morgen, TUI-Jet 74 kilo, ready for departure. And the departure frequency is pre-selected.
TUI-Jet 74 kilo, Stuttgart Tower, say again.
TUI-Jet 74 kilo is ready for departure. I'm probably speaking a little bit too quick again for the AI.
TUI-Jet 74 kilo, runway 07, winds calm, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 07 cleared for takeoff, TUI-Jet 74 kilo. Cabin crew, prepare for departure.
Approaching 07.
Okay, clear on the approach, clear on the left, before takeoff checklist below the line. MCP, set, transponder, Tara, strobe lights on, landing lights on, before takeoff checklist complete. Are you happy with the rolling takeoff? And let's go.
On runway 07.
Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Tracked. You're up. LNAV. What is the flight director commanding there? This looks better, doesn't it?
2EZ 74 kilo. Contact departure on 119.85.
119.85, 2EZ 74 kilo, bye bye. Flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 1. Land radar, 2EZ 74 kilo, passing 2,700, climbing 5,000.
2EZ 74 kilo. Stuttgart departure identified. Climb flight level 100.
Climbing flight level 100, 2EZ 74 kilo. Set, 100 checked. Okay, so we got the 205 restriction until here. We're going to have to maintain that for a little bit longer. I'm going to slightly disregard the flight director here.
Contact line and radar on 119.2.
119.2, 2EZ 74 kilo. Long radar, good morning, 2EZ 74 kilo, passing 4,900, climbing flight level 100. Set standard.
742, Langen radar identified. Good morning, Stuttgart QNH 1012.
Whatever. Okay, so those altitude restrictions are no problem at all. And here we go, flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up.
Climb flight level 240.
Climbing flight level 240, 2EZ 74 kilo. Set, 240 checked, VNAV. So, flaps up, no lights. And after takeoff checklist. Command A. Okay, air condition and pressurization is at 2.6 climbing, and let's just do the standard AUT over here, like that. 28, maybe 2 degrees too warm. Okay, and altimeters, standard, passing level 80 now. That's the after takeoff checklist complete, and we can release the cabin crew. Alright, engines are in climb thrust, then we don't need the chrono anymore. We are using the elapsed timer for the rest of the flight. And then let's go ahead and ask the important question, that is, when are we going to be there? Are we on time? I mean, the answer simply has to be yes. Yeah, 10:33, 5.7. And just to check this again, 61.2 plus 5.7 is 66.9. So 500 above the max landing weight. So what are we going to do against that? Well, quite easy. Cost endings 100. 350 will definitely be the final level. And then we are slowly going to fly into that direction and then see what we are going to do up next. Okay, engine anti-ice on. And altimeters. Passing level 106 and climbing level 240, 10 checks. The fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, lights off, APU off, air cannon press, 3.6 climbing and set. Fast modes on until we're out of this. Recall checked, monitoring 1 to 1.5, and data link.
Climb flight level 280.
Lima Fox Romeo Romeo. Climbing flight level 280 to EJet 74 kilo. Okay, the lock-on is performed and set. 280 checked, VNAV, and that's it. Okay, perfect. Engine RTI is off. And then I think we are good to release the passengers as well. This does look pretty clear at the end of the day. Alright, and that's it for the time being. So guys, sit back, relax, and... whoa, that is a little too fast here for my taste. 325 is absolutely sufficient. ATC call, lock-on accepted. And down here, let's call it 325/0.79. Then the cruise will be in, yeah, 0.79 as well. Something like that. Okay. And here we go. Excellent, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us, and then I see you all when we start the approach into Madeira. Alright my friends, we are starting the approach down into Madeira. We've just gotten the handover to approach via CPDLC, so that's going to be on 119.605. Now we are going to have a quick chat with him. Okay, our FO just turned it active here.
Madeira approach, 3.74 kilo.
And then we got to talk about the landing weight. But let's see what they are going to say first.
Jet 74 kilo, Madeira approach, identified. Good morning, cleared fuel in transition. Expect the RNAV Alpha runway 05 approach into Madeira.
Alright, RNAV Alpha 05, that sounds good. Now let's wait until our FO has done the readback here, and then we can start with a little bit of prep work, because there is a small problem that we've got that we still have to solve on our way in. Namely, that's going to be the landing weight. So we do have one problem here, and that's the fact that our airplane has too much fuel on board. Now, don't ask me what happened there. I have recalculated it twice. So we plan to arrive 63.4. 11.8 plus 2,500 kilos is 14,300 kilos of block fuel. So we should have arrived 500 below the max landing weight. We have arrived 5.7 plus 61.2 at 66.9. Which is 1,000 kilos more than we were supposed to have. Don't ask me why, don't ask me how. Something is fucked up with the SimReef flight plan. It's predicted and completely inaccurate fuel usage. But that may be related to the time as well. Look at that. 3 hours 39 planned flight time. It's now 3 hours 8 and we have another 10 minutes or so. So we've been 20 minutes faster. Obviously that does explain the difference. So something is fucked up here. I just can't tell you what it is exactly. In any case, it means we have no choice but to enter a holding. We need to lose approximately 500 kilos, so that is 10 minutes, so 2 rounds in the holding. Now those 2 rounds may or may not be good for us, because we have a second problem on this approach, and that's the wind limitations. Look down here. With wind coming from between 020 and 040 degrees, we can tolerate a maximum of 20 knots, gust 30 knots. The current wind here in Madeira is almost at that limit. Looking down here, we got wind 030 at 17, gust 27. So we have 3 knots underneath the maximum wind limitation for the approach, which puts us into a whole different problem. Normally, on an approach with a high weight like this, I would choose flaps 40 in order to reduce our speed. The difference between flaps 30 and 40 is 8 knots of airspeed, and I absolutely want to lose those 8 knots of speed. However, when turbulence is expected, and with the wind almost at the limit, we are absolutely expecting turbulence today, and when that is expected, then we normally prefer flaps 30 for the landing, and that is what I'm going to do. So we will do a flap 30 approach, but we will end up flying, well, 160 knots. If you look down here, reference speed flaps 30, 149, and plus 15 knots for the wind correction, we literally end up at 164 knots. Good luck flying a visual circling approach like that. That's gonna be fun. Alright, in any case, let's do the 10,000 foot flow first. So altimeters, passing 9.5, descending 3,000 10 tracks. The fuel is balanced, 4 pumps on, lights on, angular bank 25, air condition and pressurization, 3.2 descending and set, fasten belts. On, recall, checked, and still monitoring 1 to 1.5. So, ATC call. Log off, connection terminated, that looks good. Okay, lovely. So 10 checks are completed. Alright, let's ask for a holding over at Pilim so that we can burn some fuel. Approach to EJet 74 kilo, request to hold over Pilim.
EJet 74 kilo, holding at tail and not approved. Continue approach.
Unable, we are above the maximum landing weight. Are you kidding me? Holding not approved? Well, then he's gonna get the unable. So can we enter the holding or not?
EJet 74 kilo, holding at tail and not approved. Continue approach.
We are unable to continue the approach because we are above the maximum landing weight. We request the holding or delay vectors. And now it's his problem.
EJet 74 kilo, holding not approved, delay vectors not available. Continue approach.
No. Simply no. Yeah, unable, we are entering the holding. Let's see what the AI is going to do now.
EJet 74 kilo, holding not approved. Leave holding and continue approach.
Do you have a phone number for us, please? If they want it that way, they get it that way.
EJet 74 kilo, no phone numbers provided. Use radio.
Okay, in that case, this is an unacceptable behavior from the air traffic controller. We will not let you force us to land overweight, so we will be entering the holding, and you can call us back whenever you are ready. And that is exactly how this would work in the real world.
Jet 74 kilo, holding not approved. Continue approach.
Thank you, we're entering the holding.
Jet 74 kilo, I show you're squawking 7600. I don't know if you can hear me, but we see you. Fly your flight plan, continue trying to re-establish comm, and
nope.
Squawk 7600 until you land. We'll keep people out of your way. Good luck, sir.
Now he will probably have a phone number after landing for us, and that is what we wanted anyway. Okay, so we are going to fly a couple of rounds in the holding here. 2 rounds, then we should be down at the max landing weight, and then we are out of the way of that problem. So 66.6, then 148 will be the approach speed. Okay, good. So that's that part. Now let's go ahead and talk about the approach briefing itself. So threats for the arrival are a couple. Also a quick check. PLIM minimum 3000. We are descending at 3000, so that's what we will do. Okay, good. So you can already go over to the terrain, because that's going to be more important for us. There's the island in sight. Well, so threats for the arrival. The main threat I have for this approach is going to be the weather. So gusts and wind shear. Let's quickly talk about the wind shear escape maneuver and about our escape procedure for the entire approach. Anything happening before we roll out on the final heading? We must keep it in the turn, and we must follow the turn to get clear of the terrain. That'll have highest possible importance. Anything after we've rolled out on the runway heading, maintain the wings level, carry out the wind shear escape maneuver. The wind shear escape maneuver is firewall the thrust levers and press tow guard twice. Disconnect auto thrust so that the auto thrust doesn't pull our thrust back, and pitch up to 15 degrees. Thereafter follow the flight director guidance. Ensure the speed brakes are retracted and do not change configuration until we're out of the wind shear. We've got no specials, we've got nothing abnormal here, and once we're out of the wind shear, we got a missed approach altitude of 3,000 feet, so we are going to level off at the missed approach altitude and then decide on the further course of action. Porto Santo is nearby and always available, and we also do have fuel for both the Canary Islands as well as Faro. Now, talking about those two options, let's go ahead and request the weather from there real quick. So Golf, Charlie, Romeo, Romeo, request, and Lima, Papa, Papa, Romeo. Or is it Romeo? I think it is. Okay, that's out, and Lima, Papa, Fox, Romeo as well. Okay, that's all requested. Let's see what we are gonna get over here. So, still waiting for all those to arrive. What's that? Lanzarote. 170 at 10. So Lanzarote is beautiful. We could go there. And we do have the fuel for Lanzarote as well, do we? Very quick check. Yeah, Lanzarote, 2.5 extra, which is exactly what we have. Okay, that's lovely. Now let's have a look at the others. So, Faro is beautiful as well. So we could go there if we absolutely needed to. But Lanzarote is the primary alternate for now. Okay, so that's that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the standard approach that we are going to fly. So we've got, yeah, we're below 250 anyway. The Winds are in, we've got Galo and Rosario programmed in the fix info page, and for the arrival we are coming out of Pilim for the ANAF Alpha approach. So that is gonna be from Pilim, waypoint 563, 564, and thereafter we start the 3-degree descent, crossing 565 at 1430, we've got that, and then down to 566, and from 566 we are going to join the RMP visual approach, which is on the track 219er outbound. Start the base turn by that waypoint over here, and then we are going to turn to the right, cross Galo at 850, Rosario at 460, and finally roll out and land. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I got for the approach. So fuel on arrival is plenty, but if we do get wind shear over here, and if Porto Santo isn't good either, then we just fuck off right to Lanzarote. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Okay, anything from your side? Nope, lovely. So we talked about that, fuel on landing, we've talked about it, vacate the runway to the right. We're gonna see whether we can make the intersection or whether we have to use the turn pad, and that's it. Any questions? Nope? Okay. Lovely. So, what else do we have here? Anything new? No? Okay. One more that we can get is Porto Santo, which is LPPS. So let's just request that one as well. No digital ATIS, okay, fair enough. Then TWIP LPPS. Sent. Alright, so that's all the lovely stuff done. Looks like there is one departure right now. Let's see about our fuel. We're at 5.6 now. 66.3 is the max landing weight. That means we need to burn another 500 kilos. Are we going to be able to do that just on the standard landing? Burning 40 a minute. We have about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. 8 times 4. Yeah, we'll be fine. Okay. Approach to EJet 74 Kilo is ready to start the approach. METAR unavailable.
74 Kilo. I show you're squawking 7600.
No.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Not any longer.
Fly your flight plan. Continue trying to re-establish comms and squawk. We'll keep people out of your way. Good luck, sir.
Yeah, okay, if he doesn't want to... we can hear you now. Okay, exit hold. No, direct 563 please. We can hear you fine now. We are able to resume normal operation. Okay, good. So, we'll start the descent at waypoint 564. We'll take things slowly from here on. And let's go flaps 1. Speed checked. Alright, approach checklist please. Or actually, let's start with the first check. Frequency is not applicable. Fixed rings not applicable. We got Galo and Rosario. Idents are not applicable. Standby instruments are set. And the course is not applicable. Approach checklist. Altimeters and instruments. And cross check. Approach rates checked and set. Approach checklist complete. Okay, approach and descent. 1000 feet set, VNAV path, speed intervent, flaps 5. Speed checked.
Jet 74 Kilo, cleared for the RNAV runway 05 approach via P-Lim.
Cleared RNAV 05, TUI Jet 74 Kilo. Alright then, gear down, flaps 15. Where is he? There he is. Already above us. That's of course the problem when you go 7.6. Eurowings. So, quite the fantastic look, isn't it? Madeira is just always spectacular. Alright, we gotta burn a bit more fuel, so flaps 30. Speed checked. Flaps 30. Okay, heading select. And landing checklist. And you can please take the comms again. So, start switches, continuous, recall checked, speed brake, armed green light, landing gear down 3 green, auto brake 3 set, flaps 30, 30, green light, and the landing lights to go. Okay. Manual flight. Leveling off in 1000, recycle flight directors.
Approaching minimums.
Checked. And manual thrust.
1000.
So, speed is looking good, altitude is looking good. Then we are gonna start the right hand turn, set go around altitude. And there's 3000 feet set. We're going to maintain VRF plus 15. Then we'll cross Galo in 850. And with that, I think we've got a plan. TUI Jet 74 Kilo is turning final. Oh yeah, that bug.
Caution, terrain.
Come on.
Terrain.
Thank you. Terrain inhibited. Okay, let's go down to 850. There's the lead-in lights.
Minimums.
Continue. That was just the circling altitude. So here's 850. Then we plan for 60 overhead Rosario. Correcting speed. Okay, we are on the Poppy now. Correcting vertical speeds. Yep, there is a little bit of turbulence in here.
74 Kilo, contact Madeira Tower on 124.6.
A little late, my friend. But yeah, the FO will handle. I am going to land anyway.
Tower on 124.66. TUI Jet 74 Kilo.
300.
Correcting speeds.
Tower, 2J74 Kilo. Good morning. Established on the RNAV runway 05 approach.
30, 20, 10.
Really? You're freezing exactly upon touchdown? Hello? It literally froze on touchdown. Ah, here we are. Speed break up, thruster is normal.
Terminal A5 via Charlie Alpha.
100 knots.
This frequency, 2Jet74 Kilo.
80 knots. Manual brakes. 60 knots.
Remaining.
We've seen better ATC in the past. We've definitely seen better ATC in the past. At least, as promised, we made it right down to the maximum landing weight here. So let's go ahead and vacate that runway, and I just heard on the radio that we're taxiing to stand 5. So that's what we are going to do. And with that, welcome to Madeira. I would say that was a pretty interesting approach. I wish we had to, you know, F around a little less with ATC on that one. Definitely going to write up a bug report here. And yeah, at least we have made it. And gotta say, that was quite a bit of turbulence. Not as bad as it could have been, totally honest over here. I think the geographic turbulence, or topographic turbulence, still needs a little more improvement in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But hey, we made it here. That's what counts. So with that, welcome to Madeira. Alright then, we're looking for stand number 5, so let's try and find that here. And Throttle crashed in the background. Okay, no comment. Well then, we made it, that's all that counts. So, lights are off. Alpha 5 is approaching, and here we go. Okay, yeah, since GSX crashed, we have no marshaller. That's fine. Just gonna park at the very front here, and that's gonna be okay.
Cross runway 05, then continue via Charlie Alpha.
What? No.
4 Kilo.
Okay, here we are. 2 blue, 1 red. Engine's dead. Okay. So, that was an interesting one. That was definitely an interesting one. Engines are running down. Let's clean her up. Squawk 2000, both engines below 20. And transit shutdown checklists. So, electricals on the APU, fasten belts off, ProBeat auto, anti-ice off, voice recorder on, air compacts auto, engine bleeds on, APU bleed on, exterior lights set, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps up no light, parking brake set, start levers cut off, weather radar off. Is it over here as well? Yes. Weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CVR CB in, and cockpit door, come on, is unlocked. And guys, with that, the transit shutdown checklist is complete. Welcome to Madeira. I do hope that despite those couple problems that we had on the approach, you still enjoyed it. I definitely did. Also nice to see that Sane Intentions is trying to do something with the Squawk 76 over here. Obviously now, you would either get yourself a phone number or you just walk up right over there, because you definitely have a couple words to exchange with them. In any case, that's going to be for some live ATC phone recording stuff. So thank you very much for watching. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I'd appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.